Hi, welcome to our Scholarship Showcase. My name is Wendell Seaborne. I serve as the Dean of Doctoral Studies and Academic Research for Franklin University. And I'd like to take just a few minutes to share some of the highlights of the poster with you. Now, my poster, I've tried to encapsulate the history and the hopes of doctoral studies at Franklin University. And if you see anything or hear anything during the presentation that interests you in either becoming a student, or perhaps you're a student in another program and you want to transfer into our programs, or perhaps you're a faculty member and you're credentialed and qualified to work with our doctoral students and candidates. If anything that I say here or you see on the poster sparks an interest in you, please feel free to reach out to me and let's discuss the opportunities you might have to be part of Franklin University's efforts. If you don't know me, don't know how to get hold of me, you can scan the QR code at the top left-hand corner of this poster, and it will take you to my LinkedIn page where you can get all my contact information. Let's run through the poster quickly. If you look at the top left-hand corner, you'll see there a little bit of the history of the timeline of how we began doctoral studies at Franklin University. And from the very early days of January 6th of 2011, when I first had the conversation with Provost Washington, to when we kicked off the task force meeting in June 26, 2013, or then the dates that I have listed there of the programs as we've launched them, as we've offered them to our students and to the communities. We are looking to the future and what we might also add. So you see a few ideas there. None of these are in concrete, but we're always looking at what the market would like to have, what our students would like to have in terms of additional classes that they could take or majors they might have for their degrees. And so we're always open to all of those things. Now, one thing I would like to point out to you is that we had some concerns at the very beginning, and I've encapsulated that a little bit in the upper right-hand corner, because there were studies at the time that talked about graduate education can turn into a waste of time, waste of a student's time, waste of university resources, waste of research capacity. So we didn't want any of that to befall our students or our university. And so that was on our mind as we thought about how we were going to design and implement and launch doctoral education at Franklin University. So 4 things that we had particularly in our mind, you can find in the bottom left-hand corner, was what students are attracted to apply to doctoral programs, what students get admitted to the programs, how do the students and faculties develop working relationships, and how do the students work together peer-to-peer. All of these were of concern to us as well. And so we had all of these things in mind as we were developing and preparing to launch our initial programs. Now, we launched a Doctor of Business Administration, Doctor of Healthcare Administration, and a Doctor of Professional Studies in Instructional Design Leadership were our first degrees. We had to make sure that we had the qualified and credentialed faculty to serve in this role. And so we also were identifying and recruiting faculty to serve. Many of that faculty came from existing adjuncts who already worked for Franklin University and taught at the master's level. Some, however, were new that we attracted. In either case, we had some training that our faculty needed to go through so that they were prepared and fully credentialed to work with our doctoral students. And you can see a rundown of that in the middle section of the bottom of the poster. I have a pie chart that shows that there's over 220 faculty who have so qualified themselves. And on the right-hand side of that is a bar chart showing that we have both adjunct and full-time faculty that work with our candidates when they're in their dissertation phase and finishing up their degrees. So if you take a look at the top center section, you see a few charts and graphs there, which speak to some of the successes that we've had. I won't go into a lot of detail because of a time limit on this particular video, but if you are interested in any of these details, again, please reach out to me. I would be happy to discuss any of these facets with anyone that's interested. You can see we have a graph there that shows grads by term, and you can see that we continue to increase, although fall of 23 was kind of an outlier. We jumped up to a quite large number of graduates at that point. But other than that, we've kind of continued to increase along the way. And then again, the graph to the right shows graduates by academic year. And those bars keep getting a little bit taller each year as we add more and more graduates each year. I will explain that the far right-hand bar is not taller than the ones to its left because that's only one semester out of the year. And so as we add the other 2 semesters, I'm sure it will be taller than the bar to its immediate left. Let's pay attention to some of the lower charts now. If you see that we have the first one to the left is the start time, the number of students that enrolled, and the number of graduates that we have. And so you can see that we have graduates who are starting to finish their work. They've gotten through all their coursework. They've gotten through the dissertation phase. They've defended their dissertation. They're earning their degree. We're starting to see more and more graduates from some of the earlier starts. And as we move forward on the calendar, we will continue to see these numbers increase. One particular point of pride that I think we can take from this particular piece of information is that you see that we have had 1,680 students enroll in doctoral studies at some point at Franklin University. And out of those, we have had 208 graduate. And the chart as of this date shows 901 students who were currently enrolled. And out of that number, that means that we have retained 66% of all the students who have ever started with Franklin University in doctoral studies. They've either graduated or they're currently working still towards their degree. And I think that's a great number. It speaks well to what the effort we've put out here at Franklin University to meet the needs of our doctoral students and candidates. And speaking of our doctoral students and candidates and the numbers that we have, the shorter chart to the top, it's kind of in the center of that top center section, shows the number of students, both new and returning or continuing students, and then a total number for each of our programs. And you can see that we're having some great success with our students who are continuing on, but we're also having quite a bit of success with attracting new students term by term. And so if you look at the bottom chart, then you'll see that we have two red lines, the line graph. We have two red lines, two lines. The red one shows the cumulative number of students. The blue one shows the new students that enter each year. I will make a point that the blue chart takes a serious downturn at the very end because that's only one semester out of the year. As we add the other two semesters again, it will show to be on a continued trend, I'm certain. One thing I do want to point out is that red line takes us to 910 students at that, as of the date of this chart. There were 910 students. We have a goal of 1,000 students, and we've had that goal since the very beginning. I projected at the time that we would have 1,000 students by the end of the 10th year. However, now I'm certain that we will meet the 1,000 students yet this year, which will only be our 9th year of offering doctoral programming at Franklin University. So again, that's a great accomplishment with the numbers of students that we've been able to attract and we've been able to retain in our programs. And of course, that 910, if you think about it, we've had 208 graduate. So we've had well over 1,100 students who have achieved or are in the process of achieving their goal of earning their degree. And then finally, the last section of the poster I want to draw your attention to, the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a listing there of 13 faculty and staff members' names and the roles that they serve. These are the faculty and staff who spend their full time thinking about doctoral studies at Franklin University. I've talked about the history. They have helped develop these programs along the way, building on that history, changing things as we've gone through it. And on them rest the hopes of our future, the future of doctoral education at Franklin University. They spend their days thinking of how can we make improvements to the courses? How can we design better courses to meet the needs of our students? They think about how can we add new programs, new majors, new areas for our students to study, our candidates to work on their research. How can we make the process more easier, if you will, for the students to get through, not to make it easy and giving it away, but to make it more sensible, to make things tie together better, to make it more of a smooth transition from student to candidate and then from candidate to graduate. So they spend their day with that, and I'm proud of the work that we get done together. Now, as I said at the beginning, if you see or hear something in the presentation that sparks an interest and you would like to discuss any of this more, feel free to get hold of me. Again, there's a QR code in the upper left-hand corner, which will take you to my LinkedIn page. And if you don't know me and don't know how to get hold of me directly, you can get my contact information there. And I look forward to speaking with any of you about any of the interest you have in being involved with doctoral education at Franklin University. Thanks for your time and looking at the poster and listening to this short conversation. And I look forward to something in the future to get more detail between us. Thanks.